G'day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the revive mechanic and basically discussing how best to utilize the revive mechanic and essentially give you the best knowledge to understanding it and using it correctly. Now obviously it should be pretty straightforward. The revive mechanic essentially means that when you get knocked out, when your health reaches 0, you instead revive, but there are a couple caveats and things you need to understand. Firstly, no matter what, only one revive skill can activate per run. Doesn't matter if that comes from someone's active skill, standby skill, passive, only one unit's revive skill can activate. And this is important because when you look at the units, a lot of them that have revive skills also have additional passive requirements that will trigger upon the revive. For example, let's take a look at Tech Goku here. When his revive skill is activated, he gains guaranteed guard and he gains critical hits, which is very important because that very dramatically changes how he functions. Alternatively as well, we have Tech Goku here whose conditions activate regardless of whose revive skill activates. This is obviously much better design because it means you don't have to worry about who gets knocked out. So it's pretty important. Secondly as well, it's important to differentiate between whether a revive skill triggers upon any unit in your rotation getting knocked out, or if it only triggers upon a singular unit being knocked out. For example, Metal Cooler has an unconditional revive, but it's only if he is the one that receives the finishing blow. Whereas Tech Goku and World Tournament Goku's revive skills will activate if it's anyone within the turn, and it goes the same for MUI and with Vegeta. So it's pretty important. AGL Gohan or Future Gohan is one of the ones where it requires you to have him essentially be knocked out. This is slightly limiting because the thing is firstly, it means you don't really want to run them as leads. Like for example, not so much Metal Cooler, but for example, Gohan and Trunks, who are a unit that require themselves to revive to activate their passive, and you can only have one revive. You definitely don't want to have two of them as a lead. It just doesn't really work, and you don't really want to go through that process. So it's something that's pretty important. Secondly, as well, basically, to cut a long story short, when you are activating the revive, you have to be considerate of the fact that only one of the unit's conditions are going to activate. So if you're taking like double tech Super Saiyan Goku, for example, it's actually a hindrance because when Goku revives, he'll revive into a turn where he's now below 58% health. So your one Goku now is guard unconditional, but the very next turn, that Goku, he has no guard. So you need to really understand the revive and how it's going to affect possibly the other lead or the other units on your team. Generally speaking, sticking to one revive unit is a cardinal function, except for when you have World Tournament Goku, who's currently the only unit that benefits from other units reviving. Now, how do you use revive skills? Well, revive skills are pretty useful. Obviously, there's no real wrong or right way to use them. If they trigger, they've been used correctly. I guess that's probably the easiest way to say it. But there are situations where you can use them a bit more effectively than others. For example, let's say you're in the situation where you can see where the super attack has been fired. Now, in that situation, it would be best to place another unit before Gohan, allowing them to potentially get off damage while Gohan can eat the super. This is obviously something that's quite ideal. Secondly as well, it's important to understand that getting the revive skill activated will change the turn. So maybe you have a weaker rotation that the revive skill is on, and you know that you could finish the fight off by switching over to the next turn. Then it's best to probably just trigger the revive and take the revive rather than actively trying to, survive the turn. It's just probably easier that way. Secondly as well, it is also important to note that they don't pause the turn counter. So unfortunately, if you have any items active or you have any skill effects active, you make sure that you use them before the revive skill goes off, because otherwise it's going to basically null and void whatever effects those were. But it also means that you can use any active skills and score some free damage before triggering yourself into the next turn. It's pretty interesting. Using a revive, like I said, is not a one and done situation, but it's good to know. Bye.